Well, hey everybody. It's the 13th of March, 2025. I'm Jan Erickson, and this is As Above, So Below. Well, I've already tried this once here, and I had to reboot the computer. I tend to just let my computer stay on, and eventually, things start jumping and stuff when I try to do the videos, and so or things might freeze or whatever. So then I know I have to reboot. Well, that happened, and so I've got everything out already, and I'm going to stay with this particular reading today. We have an overall numerology, I'll tell you ahead of time, of 5 for it. Oh, and one other thing. Monday's reading I said was the 13th, but it was the 10th, so I went in and I changed it on YouTube and on and the posts I had on the blog at Stepping Aside. So today is actually the 13th. I don't know why I thought today, yeah, Monday was, but whatever. Anyhow, we're going to start out with Gebo, which is the 7th rune of the Elder Futhark. Gebo is the gift of reciprocity. It means the link, marriage, partnership, balanced energy exchange. It's literally Kenaz in all directions, which is the torch or the light of spirit. And it can also be seen as Isa crossed, which is the Norn rune for concentrative focus. And the present moment is regarded as the present moment. And so there could be issues of staying in balance with people, especially with tomorrow. Mercury retrograde happens. It starts then tomorrow. And so we're in the kind of the pre-shadow period of it. And so you can always experience in the week before and the week after. So it's actually like a 5-week process instead of a 3, where you may start to experience in the beginning of it, some of the communication difficulties. Again, that could be that could be technology as well with your computer or something. We've been noticing our iPads have been kind of freezing a little bit here and there, and being a little weird the last couple of days, and so you might have noticed the same. So anyway, but some people don't notice anything, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. But I think probably, I will this right now. So that's what's going on here. But anyway, so we've got Gebo to start us out with on the above side of things. And then we have Fortuna Minor. Its complement, of course, is Fortuna Major. A major would be greater fortune. And this is lesser fortune. And so rather than the outcome or the goal or the paycheck at the end of whatever it is you're doing, that would be Fortuna Major. Fortuna Minor really is talking about the progress along the way. And the steps you take. And so there could be something today with respect to Gebo and Fortuna Minor where the process that you take needs to have some good communication, some good, and again, with Mercury retrograde, we're on the verge of that. You could be experiencing some issues there. So make sure expectations are clear, and make sure you communicate well. And if someone else seems to be struggling with that, just help them out with it and all of that. So, I said in the first attempt at doing this that this could be work related, and with the cards that I pulled, I think it is, because I have a run on Pentacles in this reading in terms of the cards. We also have one card from the Major Arcana, Temperance. And so with respect to the 5 numerology, overall numerology, you're looking at 5 is about protection. It's also about change. So either there has been a change in how you interact and relate, and the reciprocity you have with others, perhaps again influenced by Mercury retrograde. And it may be impacting the progress that you're taking, or I keep saying progress, process that you're taking to achieve your progress. It could be impacting that. And so again, it could just be miscommunication that's causing that. Or you're having there's something challenging happening relating to that, and you need to look at the process that you're taking. So it could be one of the two. In other words, the solution could be found in the process that you're taking. And so asking for outside assistance is another aspect of Fortuna Minor. As opposed to with Fortuna Major, it would be the inner assistance that you already know. It's the experience you've had and the knowledge you have. And so you don't necessarily need to rely on somebody else, but or to ask for advice, although it's always a good idea, I think. But especially with Fortuna Minor, though, you need to be talking to one another, and maybe somebody who does have more experience to kind of get you all back on track if that's in fact what's going on here. Now, looking at the cards, we have the Seven of Pentacles, the Temperance, and the Four of Pentacles. And so again, a run on Pentacles. And what does that mean? Pentacles is the earth element, so it's talking about money, finances, material security, home, education, tradition, loyalty, grounding, so it's the practical, pragmatic side of life, instead of letting impulses take you in a lot of different directions. You get a bunch of pentacles in a reading, and it's kind of saying, now wait a minute, let's get practical here. Let's get grounded. Maybe there's some things that you're not thinking about, that is going to affect your material security or your home life or what have you, the family and all of that. In a sense, the pentacles, the suit of pentacles and the earth element describes our physicality in form. So anyhow, let's go ahead, though, and note the parallels here. Fortuna Minor could have something to do with the Seven of Pentacles. It could also have something to do with the Four, but I think we'll keep that as more of a conservative approach. But you also have with Gebo, I think that aligns extremely well with the idea of temperance and the idea of moderation, balancing will with emotion, balancing, the will to do things with maybe a little more caution, with the emotions, where you're going to be a little more reflective about things, perhaps. It also involves change. So again, there could be something that's changed that you need to deal with, right? Probably at work. We'll just go with that. So let's start out with the Seven. Here we have the farmer leaning on his hoe, looking at his grapevines there. You see the pentacles, the coins, most of which are here. You have a little one there. And with Seven, you're looking at the idea of observation and balance and letting things settle out. So with Gebo, how that would relate to Gebo then is allowing that balance to happen. And to see what that looks like when all is said and done. So if it's not particularly balanced, that could be a factor in what's going on today. And so, but with the Seven of Pentacles, you're really looking at taking stock of what you have, observing and see where you need to go from here. Do you need to grow some more? Do you have enough to sell for the winter? These are the kinds of things the farmer's going to be thinking about in terms of the Seven of Pentacles, and whether or not he's it's just going to guide, and it's sort of a forecast of what he needs to do here to change things, to make things better and more secure for himself and his family, maybe. Moving on to Temperance, we see the angel with one foot on the land and one foot in the water, pouring water from one chalice to another. We see the glyph for fire. That's the red triangle there, embedded in the white cube, which is the glyph for earth. So you're going to be seeing grounding your will in moderation. That's what you're going to see there. You see the emanations coming from the angel's head. So this is higher awareness and higher vision. You see the sun disk, which also represents the creator, in the center of the angel's head. It's like it's a headband that the angel is wearing. You see also a path coming up from the pond, goes to and from, really, and it goes between two mountains here. So it kind of splits that, and then you see the sun rising there on a new day. And when anytime you see two of anything, that's going to be balance in the Rider-Waite, whether it's two mountain peaks, whether it's two towers, two trees, two rock faces, whenever, or like in the Chariot, you've got the two wheels. There's an element of balance in that. Being the seventh card of the major arcana, it immediately implies balance. And in that case, knowing when to surrender and when to assert yourself, essentially, having that healthy balance between the two, understanding when that's necessary. Well, temperance is another way of looking at that. And here it's the idea of tempering the will with the emotions, sort of having water quench fire, essentially, reduce the will a little bit. so that something new can happen. And so, if this is something to do with work, which I think it probably is, then there just needs to be something different in how you approach things today, how you approach the process that you're taking with others to achieve the final goal, and how that interaction is working. And again, we have a challenge now of Mercury going retrograde. And that's just something where, you sort of have to pay attention to that. Venus, I believe, is also retrograde at the moment. Let me look here really quick, but I believe so. There's my numbers. Let me pull that program up. I think it's both Venus and let's see. I think that's the one here. Where are we at? I think I'm down there at the bottom. Yeah, both Mercury and Venus for next week will be in retrograde. Venus right now, Mercury starts again tomorrow on the 14th with its retrograde. So Venus is already in retrograde. And so partnerships can be affected by that, communication between partners, and just stepping back and reevaluating with if you can remember anything, any key word with anything in retrograde is reevaluation. And be sure with both Venus and Mercury, then you're going to have miscommunication between partners maybe, and so you need to reevaluate some of that a little bit and make sure that you're communicating in a way that's positive. So with both influences here today, both Venus and in the shadow of Mercury tomorrow, that could be a factor here, and trying not to overly assert yourself when maybe listening is more important. Strike that balance between the two to where you can really see then what the true issue is, because it could just simply be miscommunication and expectation issues. It could just be that, but the idea of Gebo and the gift of reciprocity. Gebo means the gift. And so the gift of reciprocity, gift of balance, the gift of the give and take that's on equal footing, essentially. And again, with Mercury and Venus both retrograding here, there just could be some issues there, and you just need to slow down, let things settle out so you understand what's really going on and observe and all of that, and you'll move in the right direction, which is likely the Four of Pentacles here. I don't care for this card. This is one of the cards that I sort of have a visceral reaction to. The Six of Pentacles, I do the same. Some of the kings, I don't care for them. The King of Pentacles is kind of okay, but even then he's sort of self-absorbed in his own stuff. But here you have the king sitting away from the kingdom. You see this dual line here. You see it. It's sort of a separation between what's happening here and what's happening there. And here he's out away from the kingdom, and he's displaying his wealth. He's wearing a pentacle on his head, on his crown. He's holding fast to one here, and he's stepping on the other two. Now, given that he is not integrated with the kingdom, he's out away and looking at everybody. Either this is mine, 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 or he's displaying the wealth that he has to others that his kingdom has, and how well they're doing. He could be doing something like that. But another way of seeing it, given that it's the four, and it's grounding and foundation and, all of that practicality and pragmatism and hard work, this could just simply be taking a conservative approach to your money. All right. And a conservative approach to success would be with, or a conservative approach to the process, right? With Fortuna Minor, it could mean that. And taking things more measured. That would be one example of a conservative approach. Being more measured in what you're doing, making sure you dot your I's and cross your T's, making sure that your communication, again, with both Mercury and Venus in retrograde, you're having issues maybe. And so you want to look there. You want to step back, take a look, let things settle out, and be absolutely sure of what you're looking at, like with the Seven of Pentacles here. Make sure that the will is not out of control here, and that you can find a little bit of a balance with some compassion for other people. The water element's present there. That's also compassion. So you want to have that for others as well. And then take a measured approach in how you solve the issue. Okay. This is not something where everybody's got to get all, up in arms about anything. It's just time to stop and look and listen and see what's really going on and find that reciprocity with one another again, where, you're not trying to own the whole thing, that there's other people involved too that are participating and have a role to play in everything. And so taking a more balanced approach to that, a more measured approach, is going to be necessary to then either move through the process in a progressive and measured and conservative way, if you will, or to then look at the process. If you're sure about it already, that's one thing. But if you're not, if you're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? Well, let's look at how we're talking to one another, because that's part of the process. Are we listening? Are we hearing the other person? Are we assuming that we know what someone's talking about when maybe we don't? Or maybe there's another approach that might be usable in this case, right? So you want to be able to hear all the voices involved and value them. That's another issue of Pentacles and Earth element is valuing others as well. So again, I think this is just something where it's probably work related. Or if you're working on a project at home with other people, maybe, but let's just say work related, because that would be work as well. You just need to be sure that you're doing things in balance, that you're hearing one another, that the answer to the problem may be in the process that's being used here, again, which involves interaction with other people, having that balance with temperance, and then taking the measured approach. So that people are not getting outside the boundaries or letting their will and their self-assertion get away from them to where it offends people, and nobody wants to work with you then, right? So I think that's really what this is about today, and see what you think, if it resonates. If not, then there could be a time here coming up where it does. So the readings I do them on Mondays and Thursdays, and so they sort of cover the whole week that way, Monday until Thursday and Thursday until the following Monday. So there could be something that comes up for you if this doesn't immediately resonate, or maybe this explains something that you've been going through for you and gives you an idea of where to start again, maybe. Or gives you maybe an idea of what that all was. So kind of remember to be a little flexible in when you're doing a tarot reading or when someone's doing one for you. Ultimately, you come down to a story that you tell, but you have to be a little flexible in how you hear it, and to see what benefit it can be for you and the insight that it can provide. If not, hang on to it, because there could be something coming up that this will apply to. So anyhow, especially as Mercury retrograde gets into full swing. and people are like this and talking past one another, and your computer gets weird, and don't sign contracts during this time, that sort of thing, because you want to be sure. And sometimes miscommunication or misunderstandings take place. So anyhow, I guess that's it. And thanks for watching. Click subscribe if you haven't. I'd love you to do that and come back again. And also check out the blog over at Stepping Aside. The web address is imsteppingaside.com. The new stuff comes out on the blog every Sunday morning in the midnight hour. The forecasts for the week and the correspondences for work and magic. I do a write-up for each of these, so just a little reading notes summary for the reading as well, if you want to refer to that. And that stuff I publish over on Substack as well. Links to all that are below. If you click on more below the video, it opens up a box, and the website address is up at the top, and you scroll down to the bottom, you see the other places that I'm at, so including Substack. So anyhow, again, thanks for watching, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.